So here's a topic that I've been seeing lately. A number of parents have been upset because their churches have been turning away their child who has autism. I've seen a number of videos where there have been moms who are upset because they go to church on Sunday as a family. They have a child or children, one or two or three kids who have autism, moderate to severe autism, and they take them to children's church or Sunday school, whatever children's program the church has during, the Sunday service. And either they turn them away or after a while they go to the family and say, sorry, he's having a bad day, or she is not, able to, do whatever the activity is. Please come get your child. Yesterday I watched a video and a woman was crying. She was in the church parking lot and she couldn't even wait to get to her car to make this video. And she was crying her face off. And she's walking through the parking lot. She had her son and they're walking. He may have been, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9. And she was crying so much. And she's like, churches, why are you not able to accommodate our children who have autism? It breaks my heart. The church should be able to accommodate our child who has autism. And I am speaking to the pastors. I'm speaking to church leadership. All of us are God's children. You should be able to accommodate our children. Why can't you do it? And, it just breaks my heart that my child can't participate. So when I saw her video yesterday, and especially since I've been seeing videos like this, I wanted to chime in. This is a topic that we need to talk about. Okay? So let's do it. So this is going to be a 3-part series though, because it's loaded. If I talked about everything, I'd be talking for an hour. But I was able to pull this into 3 parts. But today we're going to talk about why. Why can't churches accommodate our children that have autism? Why? So let's go. I have 4 reasons why the church can't accommodate our children. Because I think the biggest part or the biggest problem for parents is they really don't know why. And that's why they're upset. They're like, I don't understand why the church can't accommodate it. You know what I mean? We go to church, the children's church is for children. Why? Why can't you accommodate it? So let's talk about it, okay? I have a unique experience in that I have a son with autism, and I also ran a daycare center. I ran a daycare center in my home when my children were little, but I also ran a regular daycare center. And there were children that we were not able to accommodate. So I have a unique experience, a unique situation in which I was able to see both sides. But the church has a very unique, because in church I was also a minister. So in my ministerial roles, it's somewhat like a leadership role. I also understand it from a church perspective. So let's get into why the church struggles to accommodate these children. So hopefully maybe parents can kind of see it from the church perspective. Okay. So the first reason is because there's a lack of trained volunteers or staff. So first, right there, before I even get into that, parents need to understand that these are volunteers. They're volunteers. They're volunteers. I don't know how it works at all the churches, okay? But the churches that I went to, I've only gone to a handful of churches. Many times they, I don't want to say force parents to take a turn in children's church or Sunday school, but they try to allow parents to volunteer because, I mean, your child is in here. All the parents need to take a turn. So a lot of times it's volunteer. Or what will happen is if they find out that there are, church members who have experience in daycare or education, they'll ask them to serve in ministry in this area. And most times they are not trained for children with autism or trained with children with special needs. Okay? Most volunteers are not equipped with the skills to manage sensory issues, communication challenges, or behavioral needs. Churches often rely on rotating non-specialized helpers with consistent training. So let's talk about that real quick. Parents need to understand that children's church it serves a couple of purposes. Number one, it's a place for the children to go while the adults are in the regular main service. Okay. Children's church for us, whenever we were growing up, a lot of times we're sitting right next to mom or grandmom's lap, and you had to sit there and be quiet and eat the mints from mom's purse, and be quiet. And for young children, a lot of times it's really boring, right? For your toddler, for your 5-year-old, for your 7 or 8-year-old, it's boring. They don't understand what the preacher is saying. They don't understand the Bible. It's really for grown-ups, okay? So children's church is designed for them to go and do something and have a lesson, a Bible lesson for children on their level so they can understand it, okay? So for children with autism, just like generalized education, it's not something that they can really grasp because they have their children with special needs. Just like they have special needs, this Bible instruction, a lot of times, it's not specialized for them. So what happens is you put them in children's church and they can't sit through what the other children are able to sit through. It's a generalized education, Bible education. And a lot of times, not all times, but a child that has moderate to severe autism is not able to participate in the activity that the other children are doing for that hour or hour and a half. Okay? So specialized education is it more than is accommodating for your child. It's specialized for your child. Children's church isn't. It's something for the children to do. It's a Bible lesson while their parents are in church. They have fun children's activities for the children while their parents are in church. Okay? So the volunteers are not trained for that. Okay? So you have to understand a lot of times. Okay? The second reason, there are safety concerns. So if your child is in a high elopement risk, if they are not used to interacting with other children, if the lights or the sounds, cause anxiety, or, there are trip hazards, and, there's a sensory issue, they're not trained for that. And the staff ratio, what you don't realize as a parent is staff ratios in specialized education classes are different than generalized education classes. So for instance, I know this because I worked in daycare. When you have a 5-year-old classroom, the staff ratio is like 1 adult for every 10 kids. But in a special needs classroom for the same age children, it's 1 adult for every 2 children. Because you need an adult to watch them more closely. So when you have children's church, there's 1 adult for every 20 kids. So if you have two adults down there and 1 teenage helper, and there's, 18 kids, And your child, your moderate to severe child with autism is down there. That's a safety concern. Do you see what I mean? And these kids are various age groups. They might range from age 5 to 13, depending on the church. So that's a safety concern. Children who wander, bolt, or require one-on-one support may be seen as a liability without proper accommodations. Okay? Volunteers may worry about how to keep the child safe without adequate supervision. And that is not the responsibility of the church for children's church. It's not. That's what schools do. So parents are expecting the church to do the same thing that specialized schools and specialized education does. That's not the responsibility of children's church for 90 minutes. It's just not. Not to mention that they have snacks. They have snacks. Snacks for us and in church was usually whatever the parents brought in. Or whatever donations from wherever. It may or may not, that your child with autism may. Thirdly, the church has limited resources and budget. The church has limited resources. Churches may not prioritize or have funding for disability ministry tools, staff training, or classroom adjustments. It's kind of not priority. It's not. I hate to say it like that, but it's not. Especially if there's only 1 or 2 children with autism in your 800 member or your 5,000 member church. It's not. I'm sorry. Okay? Special needs ministry is often an afterthought rather than a planned inclusion. Especially if there's one kid in a wheelchair, one kid has seizures, every kid has a different need, which means every kid will require a different level of training for staff, volunteers. Every ministry has its own budget for different things. Okay? Fourth, disruption. Leaders know that having to focus on one child's need will distract from the lesson and disrupt the group dynamic. If the kids are sitting and they're learning about Noah's Ark, and they have an activity, and we have small animals, and we have a game with the animals, and the child with autism likes to throw animals, that's a disruption. It just is. And for that parent to be upset because their child was asked to sit with them in service because they're disrupting the activity, let me tell you this. My son is 26. We went to church every Sunday. I was very, very active in ministry. Very active in ministry. I did not send my son to children's church for a number of reasons. And we're going to get into that over this 3-part series. So when the church is asking a parent to allow their child to sit with them in church, it's not so much, well, your child's not important enough. That's not it. It's layered. There's a lot going on, okay? And we're going to get into all the other reasons why. In fact, part 2, like today's part 1, and we're talking about why the church won't accommodate your child. But in part 2, in our church won't accommodate our autistic child. Part 2, we're going to talk about why parents shouldn't even want their autistic child to participate in the programs at church. Because and next week, we're going to break down the reasons why you shouldn't even want them to. And not because the church is bad, but there are reasons why you shouldn't want the church to allow your child in the programs. Okay? So I hope this is giving you some ideas and some enlightenment on some of the reasons why. Don't be mad at the church We think that the church should do it just because, I mean, this is Jesus's territory. Jesus accepted everybody. Absolutely right. This church is a building full of people. And in order to accommodate everyone, there has to be some systems in place. And the church is not equipped. Okay. And these are the reasons why. So I hope this helps. Give me some comments and some questions or some concerns you may have in the comments, and we'll talk about it. And I'll join you next week for part 2. See you next time. If you want some more information about how you can have some answers, some questions answered for you regarding how you can be a better parent, or some do autistic parenting better, I have a new course. It's on my website, terraeward.com. It's called the Autism Parent Blueprint. If you want some more information, I'm going to drop the link in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.